Talk to me a little bit about Salamangre Almirage, because I've seen it used in a lot of decks as kind of this generic extender to a lot of combos. It has so much flexibility and is just super versatile because you can go link into that, fetch something, link into something else.
Yeah, I mean, you were spot on, honestly. I mean, this is what the card really does. If you start things out with Sangan, and this is what we've just witnessed from Lithium, he was able to get the Ash Blossom to the hand, which is something incredible in my opinion, and then basically using the Almirage for another Link Summon. Almirage is one of the most generic ones that you really want to have in your extra deck, and now Lithium gets to activate one of his 2 copies of the Dogmatika ritual spells. And for you guys not familiar with the Dogmatikas in general, now he gets to send the Herald for the ritual summon of the White Relic of Dogmatika.
And White Relic of Dogmatika, now tell me a little bit about that and why it's so scary.
I mean, the card is super spelly because, as you can see, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, and also here what I really like is that Lithium can gain advantage with the Herald of the Arclight that basically gets you to search 1 card from your deck. What the deck of Lithium, basically the Dogmatika cards are also very very good in what they do, especially here in this situation. The White Relic got 2000, you know, attack points, which is incredible in my opinion, and he got the Dogmatika Macabre with the Herald of Arclight, which is super good because basically you get on the field another Dogmatika monster that Lithium is playing, which is the White Knight of Dogmatika. So basically he plays 2 of them, 1 Knight of Dogmatika and White Relic. Now, very good turn 1 from Lithium.
Yeah, of course, and just looking at how this one is playing out. Honestly, Guardián Celta now with his back against the wall, that was pretty much the perfect setup on turn 1 for the Umi control deck.
Yeah.
He had Sea Stealth Attack, he had Legendary Ocean, he had Karyu Shin, he had a little bit of other options laid out in front of him as well. That's out of the picture, but he answers with a Feather Duster of his own, so not all is lost.
Exactly. 1 for 1. I have to say here that Guardián activates his own Harpy's Featherstorm, and Lithium chains the Cold Body Grave on the Karyu Shin, something that I really like. And especially because Guardián will not be able to actually use the Karyu Shin for the next turn. Still, he has the Ash Blossom. Guardián knew that Lithium was holding an Ash Blossom that was added with Sangan.
This is supposed to be Umi control, but so far it's just getting controlled. The Dogmatika deck really shutting down anything that Guardián Celta can do this time around. We actually have our second game also starting between Renebrain and Volt.
Yeah. As we were saying, Renebrain is once again, you know, this is a matchup between, you know, Dragon Link and Sky Striker. While on our first main future match, the
Dogmatika Fleur de Lis
is being summoned, and this is still not enough because 500 life points will be left from Guardián side.
Oh,
but he closed the game. Yeah, that's correct, because basically he got to see the Fleur de Lis, and with the secure Gandar attacking Guardián Celta life points, Lithium seals game 1. And once again, a very quick game 1 for us.
And of course, you know, this is a bit of a mountain for, or rather a bit of an Umi for Guardián Celta to climb back through, because honestly, you had a flawless start. Perfect start. That is the ideal start for the Umi control deck, and yet 1 Harpy's Feather Duster later, all out of the picture.
You're left, you know, with no cards on the field, which was a pity, honestly, because as we mentioned, basically the Umi deck is a control deck, and what it does, it's, you know, super powerful. Space is super powerful. Most likely we will see that in action, but on our other future match, our player started back, and Lithium decides to activate the Ash Blossom of Pot of Prosperity. So, talking about this, I think that it's, let's say, a 50-50 in the sense that Pot of Prosperity can put you ahead in the game, giving you an advantage, but basically it's
Ash Blossom bait.
it's a trade-in, yeah, 1-for-1, right? You don't really want to get your opponent seeing fresh cards. Lithium knows that now, once again, that's Umi on the field with the Kariushin.
That is actually a fairly consistent start for the Umi control deck, and I
Yep.
wonder if Lithium's response will be just as consistent again. Do we see another Harpy's Feather Duster? Do we see a turn 1 answer, or will Lithium have to play by Guardián Celta's rules this time around?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Lithium is not holding Harpy's Feather Duster or the other copy of Lightning Storm in this deck. And indeed, as we are saying, playing only with one monster on the field
See
is not
stealth
enough.
attack.
And here comes the stealth attack. Now, there's nothing apparently that Lithium can do. Maybe we will get the chance to see some more actions from the Umi deck, which I am really looking forward to seeing.
Tell me a little bit about those kind of actions that we can expect in terms of how Guardián Celta can control this game.
Yeah, so what I really like about the Umi deck in general is that Seal Stealth Chew basically gets you a quick effect. During the battle phase, you can special summon one monsters from the graveyard in defense position, but you have to destroy at the end of the battle phase. If you're wondering why this combo is good, because basically you are playing in your main deck the Doom Kraken, which I think is a very powerful card, because basically it's a quick effect. You can target one monster you control and one monsters of your opponent's side of the field. You basically bounce back your own one, you special summon the Doom Kraken and destroy your opponent's monster. I think it's a huge advantage basically, because you got with one card, 2 cards advantage.
Yeah.
Now, I think some chain links have been made.
Dogmatika Punishment.
Dogmatika Punishment, I think one incredible card for Lithium, and most likely what you usually do sometimes is also sending the Elder Entity NTSS from the extra deck to the graveyard, which is a very cool interaction, because with one card basically you get rid of 2 cards of your opponent. And I think Lithium, what he did here is just getting rid of the Kariushin, which I think is a very good solution, because wow, there's also there can be only one. This is what the deck does, and I think when it does it at its best.
Yeah, really just shutting down Lithium's monster options here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Guardián Celta, the Dogmatika spells and traps are still pretty formidable and pretty difficult to deal with.
Exactly. This is super difficult to play against for Lithium. As we mentioned, he has a copy of Harpy's Feather Duster and the Lightning Storm in his deck. Of course, game 1, it was there to help him out. Without them, it's super difficult. Now he's going to activate the Diviner of the Herald. He will send one fairy monster, and let's actually see if there's something that Lithium can find out, because with there can be only one being activated on the field. It's going to be super difficult. I think he played well, getting rid in the turn before of the Kariushin.
I'm always really happy to see Diviner of the Herald, actually, just because it reminds me of the legacy that the Drytron left behind from the launch of Master Duel. Actually, of course, that deck really making a name for itself back then.
Yeah.
And Ritual Monsters are just a really cool mechanic that we will hopefully see more of.
Exactly, but also I think, as you correctly mentioned, Diviner of the Herald is one of those cards that can really be splashed into other engines, and I think the card is super powerful, because basically, as we are saying here, Lithium is playing it in a Dogmatika deck, and when you think about the Diviner of the Herald, usually you're thinking on the Drytron deck. This is something that you don't really quite say, but what I really like indeed is he can get the Herald of the Arclight to the graveyard, being sent from the extra deck, and get to search a copy of his Dogmatika Ritual spell cards, if he really wants to, out of his deck. The Diviner of the Herald, I think it's a very good addition, very synergic card in general, also being a tuner. The real problem here is that Lithium has to deal with this situation.
He's under lock.
Exactly, he's locked basically. And also, if he really wants to get rid of something, it's super hard.
But that being said, if you're Guardián Celta, you have this lockdown,
Yeah.
but you also only have one 2200 attack monster.
Exactly.
What is your win condition from here on out? How does Guardián Celta seal the deal on this now that he's got that control lock, that hold on Lithium's field?
Yeah, so basically what you're really looking for here is just to... you don't really want to push enough, because basically the situation here is super clear. Guardián Celta is controlling the situation. And if he get the chance to seeing any other copy of his deck, such monsters on his deck, such as the Warrior of Atlantis or the Electric Jellyfish, it will be super powerful. But we got the chance to seeing the Kaioshin being activating and searching for, I think, the most powerful trap card that Guardián Celta is playing, which is the Kaioshin's Dark Rift. And if he will be able to activate it, basically you're able to special summon 2 water monsters from the deck in defense position to the field.
Okay.
Which is super powerful.
Oh.
And
some action now happening on the side of Guardián, sorry, on the side of Lithium.
yeah. And as we saw, Lithium set his own copy of Maxi, which in this kind of specific matchup is not powerful, because as we saw, the Omi deck usually normal summon 1 monster, most likely in some situation, as we mentioned before, might be special summoning 1 or 2 monsters, but there was really not that much going on for Lithium, which is still holding on into this game.
Lithium, of course, now just looking for some sort of answer to this almost full spell and trap lineup from the side of Guardián Celta, plus the Kaioshin.
Exactly. The Kaioshin, it's super annoying, especially because, as you said, it's 2200, and with the Herald on the field, as you see, Lithium is shaking his hand because he's really trying to understand what he could do, but is basically under a lock, and indeed Lithium says, I have seen enough. I cannot do anything for this. And we will soon go for game 3.
But that's the luxury of winning game 1, is that if you need to just call it, if you need to kind of say, look, I've had enough of being on the losing end of this, I have no way out of this lock.
Exactly.
Instead of drawing it out, just says, okay, end that game, mental reset ahead of game 3.
Exactly.
And hope that we can seal the deal in the final game of this series.
I think also this was murder math from Lithium. We have to mention that Lithium is one of those guys that has been around in the Yu-Gi-Oh world for years now. He is super experienced as well. He has a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh knowledge as well. But what I really liked is that he said, look, I have no out in my deck. I really want to go to game 3, and this is what we're seeing now.
Yeah, game 3 off to a tremendous start here, as we do see the players just waiting, looking for their first move to be made, thinking it over. Can we see Guardián Celta with another full-on lock opener for game 3 of this series?
Yeah, if Guardián Celta starting things off once again with, let's say, the combo with Omi and the Kaioshin on the field, this might be super annoying for Lithium, which maybe it will go first. We will soon find out.
I'm actually very intrigued to see if we can have third time's a charm, to see if there is the way to make yet another pretty much unanswerable field.
Yeah. Also, what I really think is that Lithium might be, he has to be super, careful about his plays, because with cards such as there can be only one being played from Guardián Celta, he might be having trouble. But what I'm really curious to saying is that Guardián Celta is playing in his main deck 3 copy of Evilly Matched. Evilly Matched is an incredible card because going second, basically you can get rid of all your opponent's entire field except for 1 card, which is incredible. Now we can tell that Lithium is considering his options, because it's not easy to play against a deck that basically locks you into summoning monsters.
So in an ideal world, I guess we do want to see Lithium go first, so he can set up his board, so he can set up his field, and so he can just really get everything out there before it gets locked down to 1 attribute, 1 monster type, 1,
And I think here what I would really like to do is to summon the White Knight of Dogmatika is just search. As you can see, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, you basically look at your opponent's extra deck and sends one to the graveyard as well. What I really like is you can basically send, for example, the Elder Entity NTSS, or you also have the Titanical, the Ash Dragon, which is super powerful, but once again, we will be seeing a Legendary Ocean being activating in turn 1 from El Guardián Celta.
We see the Legendary Ocean. Do we see the Karyushin? No, that is the first time we're going to see that card come out.
There it is, the Electric Jellyfish. Basically, you can send one Umi card from the deck to the graveyard to special summon a monster, a water monster from your hand to the field, and now he's entering battle phase. And what I really like about the Electric Jellyfish is that if Umi is on the field during the player's turn, so it is a quick effect, you can activate it, and basically you can negate either a monster, effect, spell, or trap card, and you can let the card gain 600 attack, which is super powerful.
Yeah, that's going to be really difficult to deal with. Again, just El Guardián Celta really locking down the field, locking down Lithium's options. But Lithium, if there ever were a time for a comeback, this would be it.
Yeah, let's see if Lithium might be holding a copy of Lightning Storm or Harpy's Feather Duster to clean Speller Traps from El Guardián Celta. Looks like he doesn't. He starts things off here with the preparation of rights, which might be good, you know, for summoning the White Knight of Dogmatika is now holding. He also gets the White Relic as well. It's not going to be easy for Lithium to deal with double Electric Jellyfish on the field.
Yeah, again, kind of calling into question, how do you bait out these activations? How do you force your opponent to use their negates before you actually get to start your combo? Exactly.
And also something else that needs to be considered is that he's holding 2 Speller Trap cards, and as we mentioned, he might be holding, there can be only one, or for example another Seal Stealth attack we have seen in game 2 as well. Now Lithium is taking some time, which I think that's the case because it's not going to be easy. He starts things off with another Diviner of the Herald. We are seeing the Electric Jellyfish being chained to his effect, and also chaining, there can be only one.
There we go. Yep, that is another lock placed upon Lithium. Can he respond? He doesn't look too unhappy though. I think there is a way for him out of this, but how would you see it going?
This is incredibly difficult because basically now with the Diviner being negated, what El Guardián Celta said is that, okay, it doesn't really matter about losing my monster, but he has the Harpy's Feather Duster. Wow! We were not expecting this, but I think Lithium played really, I think he played really smartly because he just said, let me force the Electric Jellyfish activation, and then I will activate the Harpy's Feather Duster.
So Harpy's Feather Duster essentially was the deciding factor in Lithium winning game 1.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the deciding factor in winning game 3? I guess we'll see what this Salamangreat Almirage turns into.
Wow. I mean, I think Harpy's Feather Duster for sure MVP of the match, we can say. And I think this was very well played by Lithium. If you guys are wondering why Lithium really didn't activate the Harpy's Feather Duster in his mind phase, it's because he really wanted to first Electric Jellyfish being activated before the Harpy's Feather Duster.
There is a Gamasiel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju in the hand though.
I saw he activated from his graveyard the Ice Barrier, and he got to search 1 water monsters from the deck. And as you said, the Gamasiel being in hand, I think it's super powerful because basically if Lithium might be summoning, as we are saying, you know, one of his Dogmatika ritual monster, El Guardián Celta will just say, okay, Kaiju. I will just give you, you know, this Kaiju, and we'll just, you know, get rid of it without any problems.
And that's the thing, that kind of battle of reading each other to see hey, are you going to use your Kaiju? Are you going to use your Called by the Grave? Are you going to use your Harpy's Feather Duster? Because I have a couple of other things in my hand that you might want to save them for.
Exactly. And here Lithium gets to summon the white relic of Dogmatika, and indeed with this being done, it will get rid of the electric jellyfish, which is not boosted because Umi is not on the field. And I have to give credit to Lithium because... Oh, but there's the heavily matched. Okay, I mean, this is not incredibly powerful because basically he only gets rid of one card essentially. He has the Game Seal in hand. Now, what is he looking for with this draw? He might be looking for a Pot of Extravagance. This might be incredibly powerful, and he does! And he does!
Good prediction. Okay. It's never a good scenario for you to be in when the thing you're looking for is a draw that will let you draw more things in a hope that you do get something that you can answer with. But it's a start, and it is exactly what Guardián Celta needed to stay in this game.
Wow, I mean... we were hoping to see the Pot of Extravagance being activated. Now, again, let's see. Let me give you some other names of something maybe he might have drawn. Something that he was really looking for. For example, it could be another Umi. Either a Legendary Ocean, Water of Atlantis, or Seal Stack Attack Chew. It doesn't really make sense to give your opponent the Gameciel in this situation, especially because the White Relic has less attack than the Gameciel. He needs a plan. Maybe, okay, he's giving him the Gameciel.
Yep.
Maybe Guardián Celta has a plan. Let's see what he drew out. He sets a monster and pass.
So, what is the plan when you give them the Gameciel?
I think he was just hoping maybe that Lithium didn't have much going on in his hand, because in this specific situation you really hope that your opponent doesn't seal the game now.
It's a reasonable assumption that Lithium doesn't have too much to be scared of if you're Guardián Celta in his hand, indicated by the fact that we've gone straight to battle phase, nothing played in main phase to kind of further accentuate the amount of damage that he'd be dealing this turn. But now Lithium sitting on his options, waiting a little bit, probably just going to pass it over and hope that Guardián Celta doesn't set up another lock on this turn.
Exactly. Because basically what I'm thinking is that Guardián Celta kept the last card he drew out of Pot of Extravagance, and I'm thinking, is he holding another Pot of Extravagance? Because it might be possible, honestly. Now Lithium is going for another Dogmatika Ritual Summon. He gets rid of the Gameciel, and we will be seeing the White Knight of Dogmatika being summoned on the field. Also super annoying to play against because it has 2500 of defense, 2 set card, and play is passed back to Guardián Celta.
I mean, this is Lithium literally putting all of his cards on the table.
Yeah.
Nothing left in his hand, but a fairly formidable field to deal with from the side of Guardián Celta. What do we answer with?
Ooh, the Fish Sonar, which is very good because basically, let's say it is your, in a sense, reinforcement of the army of the deck. Basically, you can search one water monster, 7 or lower water monsters from your deck to your hand. It is something to start with. You can tell Lithium is really hoping that Guardián Celta is not holding any other copy of Umi, for example. Because with the electric jellyfish, that might be, you know, very impactful. Let's see, because what he did before, he was just setting the monster and pass into it, and then now he really needs something. Now he gets to activate the White Knight of Dogmatika, so Lithium will be sending one monster from his extra deck to the graveyard, and is the Titanic Lad. Something that I really like, because in the end phase he will be able to activate the Titanic Lad as well.
Yeah.
And he's now taking a look at his Guardián Celta extra deck, and he sent the Behemoth Shark, which is something I really like. You just say, I don't want you to, you know, having it on your extra deck, especially because you really want to avoid totally awesome being summoned.
Yeah, definitely. Just really looking to shut out the options from the Umi control deck. Because
Yeah.
right now, without the Umi, not much control coming through for Guardián Celta.
Exactly, that's the issue. And now we get to see for the first time the Chaos Scepter Blast being activated from Lithium. If you basically control one level 8, and this is the case, you basically get to banish one card from your opponent's side of the field. And now, play will be soon back to Lithium, which, of course, he has his Dogmatika deck, but he needs to remember that in the end phase, there's the Titanic end phase. Indeed, Titanic being activated, and he's going to add one Dogmatika monster from his deck if he really wants to. Let's see what he's going to add.
And you've got to consider that this game is a wrap for Lithium, unless Guardián Celta somehow managed to turn it around next turn. But will there be a next turn? It depends on what we get with this Titanic-led summon.
Yeah. And here he gets the most powerful card of the deck, which is Dogmatika Ecclesia, the Virtuous, which basically, once it's being summoned, you get to search one Dogmatika from your deck to your hand, and you can tell that Lithium might be doing, you know, some calculation in his head, because
6,500 is still a fairly formidable amount of life points to deal with.
It's still a very fair amount. Let's see if he manages somehow. He looks confident. We will soon see. Wow, he drew the Nadir Servant. And this might be it. With the Nadir Servant being activated, I think Lithium might be pushing enough damage. Let's see if he manages. Is now considering what to send with the Nadir Servant to the graveyard. Wow, he might be getting, for example, another Dogmatika Ecclesia, for example, or the Florid List.
He got the White Relic of Dogmatika.
Okay,
so
he goes for the White Relic because he could activate his effect. Now, exactly, he goes for the Head of the Arclight, activate the Calamity. Then, once the White Relic gets summoned, he can activate his effect and he will gain attack. So, with that being said, it might be enough because it will be 2,500 plus 4k. I think more or less we should be around the 6,000 damage life points. Let's see if Lithium finds the right spot. The White Relic being summoned. He activates his effect indeed. Exactly.
Okay, still that's only what, 4,000 damage if you turn to attack mode?
Yeah. Now he's doing some calculation because he also has the Maximus in his hand, which is still will not be enough. You can tell Lithium is doing some calculation. I don't think he can seal this game right now. If we also take a look at his extra deck, he doesn't really have much going on because there are all cards that interrupt your opponent with, you know, Dogmatika Punishment or the Nadir Servant. Indeed, is entering battle phase.
That being said, even if Lithium cannot seal the deal with this turn, Guardián Celta, not really much you can do to get back control with the Umi control deck once you're in this position.
Exactly. And now back to Lithium, which is summoning is Dogmatika on defense. I think this is something that I really like. You put in on defense because basically the Maximus has 3,000 defense points. It's really hard to get rid of.
He has options. He's considering what he can do here.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is a really, really solid line of monsters on the field for him. Playing the waiting game now for it to come back to his turn and look for the final battle phase. Can Guardián Celta find an answer, find a way out of this?
And you can tell that now Lithium is going for the Titanic in the end phase, searches for the Dogmatika Ecclesia, and now turn is back to Guardián Celta, which is now hoping most likely to get another copy of Power of Extravagance to get an advantage. Let's see maybe if he draws a card such as Evilly Matched, which might be very powerful. Wow!
Okay.
And he does!
Okay.
And he does!
Even so, only so many things you can draw off of that.
Exactly. I mean, now, ideally, he will need to draw an Evilly Matched, which will be the dream, and at least a monster or any other sort of interruption, such as there can be only one. Evenly matched is the card he's really looking for at the moment. We have already seen him activating a copy of his evenly matched. The fish the fish sonar
So
being activated.
If he activated that, it means he doesn't have Umi in his hand or Legendary Ocean.
I think so, because basically with the fish sonar here, I think he already used the True Warrior of Atlantis, and this is the Doom Kraken.
Doom Kraken, yep.
Yeah. The Foolish Burial Goods, another very cool card that Guardián Celta is playing. Let's see what he sends to his graveyard. He might be sending the Ice Barrier, indeed, that's what he does. And as we saw in game 2, basically he can activate it and add one water monster, which previously was the Gameciel. Is Lithium holding a Call by the Grave? We can tell Lithium is considering it. He activates the Ice Barrier, and now he gets back his monster from the graveyard, the Ice Jade Tremora. And he has the Call by the Grave, indeed. Yeah, I called it. He was just waiting for the right moment to activate the Call by the Grave here on the Ice Jade Tremora.
And that should be it.
I really think so. The Power of Extravagance, although was drawn twice.
It was exciting.
Yeah, it was super exciting, honestly. I mean, some spicy. Maybe they evenly matched. Maybe he's holding it, huh? We never know.
2 cards in hand, no cards on field.
Yeah. Let's see now if Guardián Celta has any ace in his jacket. Here comes the Doom Kraken.
Yep. There goes the Doom Kraken.
Goes to the end phase. Play is back to Lithium.
I'm actually very happy that we managed to see another featured matchup go to 3 games, though.
Exactly.
Very competitive group so far.
Yeah. As we said, the competition is super high this weekend. All of our players really want to fight for becoming the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel champion. Now, the Ecclesia being summoned gets the Dogmatika punishment, and with that being said, Lithium will soon switch his monsters to attack position and her battle phase. This should be it.
And that is it.
Yeah. And Lithium is the winner of our future match. Very well played.
The Umi control.
Wow.
Almost controlled its way to victory.
Almost did it. He almost did it. Very well played, guys. We have to say that in our matches also, once again, 3 games in our match, our guys battled it out. I think we saw how Umi is super powerful, but without no further ado, Ed is ready. Let's jump into it.
Lithium, if you can come on over, have a quick chat with us, grab yourself a microphone. So, you've just won the 2nd feature match that we've had so far in the
okay.
How does it feel?
Nervous, stressy. I mean, I felt confident with the deck, with Dogmatika, but I wasn't so sure about the other deck, about the Umi deck. I know some cards, but I know that it's not super reliant on the extra deck, and that's where the Dogmatika strategy is important. But I was super lucky with the Duster, game 1 and game 3.
I was about to say, I've got some notes here about your game, and the thing I saw was that you had the very, very lucky Duster 1 and 3, which really, really helped you out. There were a couple of moments which were just sort of masterpiece moments. It just all came together for you. So were you trying to remain quite confident throughout all that, or were there moments where you were nervous?
Yeah, especially in the last game when I was leading a couple of cards, but my opponent top-decked Extravagance twice. And that's where my heart rate jumped super high because it's so stressy. And that lucky Call by the Grave as well in the end. I had a lot of luck, but it's something you need, I think.
But even through the Call by the Grave, you had a very strong field. You were sort of ready. It was within 1 or 2 turns near the end, so you secured it.
Yeah, I was a bit afraid of the evenly matched. I know he plays evenly matched, and especially the last field. maybe a bit too cautiously played, but yeah, I mean, it all came down together, so it's cool.
So obviously a lot of the varied decks that we've got here, people are aware of what each other are playing. Are there any decks that you're slightly nervous about going up against?
Yeah, let me see. Sword Soul, I think, is probably, for me, the biggest candidate that might take it. Sword Soul and maybe Despia, the Despia decks. They also have like a big engine. Yeah.
Well, we've got quite a few interesting decks being played by some of these content creators, so we'll see what ends up happening. But congratulations on securing the second feature match. We have a couple more before we're going to have a quick break, but we're going to hand you back over to our second game, which is currently still going. So over to you guys to just kind of have a little bit of a watch of what's going on our second game.